Hey, beautiful people. Welcome to Midnight Malice and Mayhem. Because nothing good happens after midnight. And it's mind over matter. Hence my attire. Because after midnight, I just let the freaks have it. Now, this three and tell of tragedy comes to you. This three and tell of tragedy comes to you in storyteller form. Here's the true story of a solved crime that occurred in the 60s. But before I get to my story, do you remember the adult children of the mother who wrote her obituary in the rarest form? They talked about what an awful human being she was. They didn't even have one good thing to say about her. Her name was Kathleen Demlow. Kathleen Demlow obituary read as follows. Kathleen Demlow was born on March 19, 1938 to Joseph and Gertrude Shuck of Wabasso. Well, she married Dennis Demlow at St. Anne's in Wabasso in 1957 and had two children, Gina and Jay. Well, in 1962, she became pregnant by her husband's brother, Lyle Demlow, and she moved to California. She abandoned her children, Gina and Jay, who was raised by her parents of Clements, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph Shuck. She passed away May 31st, 2018 in Springfield and will now face her judgment. She will not be missed by Gina and Jay. They understand that this world is a better place without her. Another obituary that was written about Leslie Ray Charping of Galveston, Texas. His obituary read, hobbies included being abusive to his family, expediting trips to heaven for the beloved family pets, and fishing. I don't know. I have to tell you all, I don't know how I survived. But then again, looking back, I do. It was nobody but God. Because I suffered mental and physical abuse at the hands of a narcissistic mother, but never once did I disrespect her, hurt, or harm her, mentally or emotionally. I even ended up being one of her adult children to make a decision to take her off the ventilator. And also the one that she trusted since I was a child, but done the worst to. I'm going to share something with you, fam. Fam, I'd like to share something with you. Something that I've never even shared with blood relatives. I'm not so sure I want the ashes that I have of her, of my mother. I'm very big on energy, and I'm pretty much almost a super empath. But that would be another story time for another video, okay? But what I can say, But what I can say is just know that with the exception of my father, my daddy, my friends and people I have met on my life's journey has been there for me, not blood. One thing I want you to remember, my viewers, fam, please remember, little people, they grow up to be big people. So, let me go ahead. I want to tell you about a story. First, I have a question for you, fam. Have you ever watched a movie that was so horrendous that you can't unwatch it, but you don't want to watch it for the second time? Well, this true crime story is a replica of that movie. Well, there is a movie replica of this crime story. Well, fam, this is one of those movies. This is a true story of suburban housewife Gertrude Baniszewski, who kept a teenage girl locked in the basement of her Indiana home in the 1960s. You see, Gertrude Baniszewski was a divorcee and mother of 7 children who facilitated the prolonged torture, mutilation, and eventually murdered Sylvia Likens in 1965. Sylvia's father, you see, she had arranged for Sylvia and her sister Jenny to be left with Gertrude, in the care of Gertrude, a friend, for $20 a week. For $20 a week. And at first she treated them very well, the 2 girls, until 1 week after their father's payment came in late, Baniszewski turned on those girls. She began abusing the girls. This led to her recruiting even her own children as well as the neighborhood children to help torture Sylvia. You know, Sylvia, she was increasingly neglected. She was beaten. She was starved. She was lacerated. She was burned. She was dehydrated. How long did that abuse last? That abuse lasted for 3 months before she died from extensive injuries and malnutrition. Now, fam, 2 of her children and 2 neighborhood youths were arrested, tried, and convicted. Baniszewski was sentenced to life in prison, but she was released on parole in 1985. She died from lung cancer in 1990.
Archive. Gertrude Baniszewski, the torture mother. Baniszewski was a divorcee and mother of 7, who facilitated the prolonged torture, mutilation, and eventual murder of Sylvia Likens. In 1965, Sylvia's father arranged for her and her sister, Jenny, to be left in the care of Baniszewski, a family friend, for $20 a week. At first, Baniszewski treated them nicely, but 1 week their father's payment came in late and Baniszewski began abusing the girls. This led to her recruiting her own children, other kids from the neighborhood, and even Jenny to help torture Sylvia. Sylvia was increasingly neglected, beaten, starved, lacerated, burned, and dehydrated. The abuse lasted for 3 months before she died from extensive injuries and malnourishment. Baniszewski, 2 of her children, and 2 neighborhood youths were all arrested, tried, and convicted. Baniszewski was sentenced to life imprisonment but was released on parole in 1985. She died from lung cancer in 1990.
Now, as I said, that was a true story. The name of the movie, if you like to watch it, is called An American Crime. Fam, if you would like to see more of these videos, please share, subscribe, and thumbs up this video for future and past crime stories coming your way. Until then, I want you to stay blessed from Midnight, Malice, and Mayhem.